And we're back. Brought to you by Three Monkeys Solderless, home of the world's best cables for your pedal board. Go check them out at the link below, threemonkeyssolderless.com. All right, so it's Sunday. Back on it, up in the studio with the gear. And today, we'll pick up where we left off. Last week, we were messing with the harmonic multifucker right here. So in the comments section, there was some reinforcement, obviously, and some absolute proof that this pedal was in use. All right, so Tanner, thanks for giving me that link to an interview, which I'd never listened to before. And it was, I think it was Jazz Ulbricht, and they were talking about, they were just playing some of Women and Children First. And Ed was kind of talking about what was going on at this particular point I didn't listen to the whole thing yet, but at the point where they were discussing the multiplexer, they were listening to Fools in the beginning of it, and I think it was Jazz. Jazz was asking him, what guitar did you use, blah blah blah, and Ed was saying he was using this also in a Electro-Harmonix octave unit, a multiplexer he called it. So I don't know if it's the deluxe one or not the deluxe one. I'm assuming there's probably some evidence that it was not the deluxe. I think they're about the same thing, but it's just an older Electro-Harmonix unit, right? That was around in the 70s and will give you an octave up and an octave down. This one also has a fuzz unit on it. So I think in the comments was that it was used on Fools, right? Because that's what they were talking about, and that it may have also been used on that little outro sort of weird little snippet that kind of goes nowhere, Growth, which may have been the beginning of the next album. So that's some interesting stuff. So I figured maybe we test it out and see what it sounds like. Also, so I got a Christmas present from Universal Audio, along with I guess everybody else, that they had given away a plugin, which was their version of the EMT plate. So I just installed that like 5 seconds ago, and I want to mess around with that a little bit. Could be really cool for some reverbs for doing what we're doing. And then also too, I've been always on this sort of like conundrum or problem, or maybe it is a problem, maybe it isn't a problem, maybe it can be approached in very different ways, but it's the pick. What kind of pick? Or how do you treat the transience of a pick? How do you eliminate it? Because to my ears, I don't hear so much of the same kind of pick noise in terms of the contact of the pick with the strings as I do when I'm playing. And it was an interesting thing that kind of has always occurred to me. And then I was listening to this other guy who was doing like this quick shorts of Unchained, and he was playing it, and I said, the way he's playing this seems really right. And then I'm noticing he's not picking a certain note that I always pick, or a certain part of the chord that I always pick, and it sounds better his way. So I'm like, that's, picking is huge. I think when you talk about why a guitar player plays or sounds a lot like the way they do, I think where they pick on the guitar, what kind of pick they use, how they mute with their hand, what angle the pick is on, what kind of pick, that is really important. So I got I went into I have a little ashtray downstairs full of guitar picks that I just throw picks in when I get them. And there's kind of like this, it's sort of like a tradition, people that are touring or whatever, guitar techs, there's the pick exchange at the meeting, right? So if you're working for an artist, you hand your picks, a few picks of your guy, and you hand back the picks of the person you're working for. So I've accumulated some picks, not like some people. I mean, like my partner Greg has like, I don't know, thousands and thousands and thousands of guitar picks, some of which are really rare. But I just grabbed a handful of these picks of different types and different people. Maybe we could test those out and see what they sound like. So we'll do the multifucker and play around with that. We'll play around with the reverb. We'll do some picks, and all that stuff will kind of all mix together, and that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. I'm going to put on the headphones. All right. And the amp is on. So we have our guitar again, which is, you know, just this normal Strat. Has an old custom in it, Seymour Duncan. It's amplifier, Marshmallow line out into the aux box, line in mod that I put in there. And we're just using the greenback punch setting, which is their greenback response. No reverb, no other effects. So we got, this is the sound. All right, so let's just, I don't even know where to start, because already the pick noise is just messing with me. So let's do the multifucker first. So we got it ready to go. As before, we're using the multifucker in the normal channel and the dry in this, so we can combine the two and get kind of a balanced sound that isn't too modulated by the, you know, the octave unit, which can sometimes add a really unnatural kind of effect when it can't quite figure out what to do. All right, so we'll take it out. Put it in. What does it actually sound like? I'll pull out this channel. Hear that? Boom, boom, boom. We don't want that. And that's how these things work. But if you run this unit, which has a dry out and an affected out, into different channels, you can combine them, and you're going to always have your fundamental tone, which isn't going nutso. All right, so back in, the two combined make this. Could be. Let me mute this microphone. So it could be in there. It's kind of subtle, but it definitely makes the... it definitely makes it fill out, right? And oftentimes, like a good use of effect, or of... Where's the pink drink? I need this. A lot of times, a good way to use an effect is when you're not sure if it's on, but you know when it's off, right? So you don't want like, you know, cheese is good, but like really, really, really strong cheese, maybe not, maybe for some people. But unless you're really trying to make something over the top, effects are kind of, for my ear, they always sound good when you're not sure if it's on until you turn it off. And then you're like, oh, yeah, it was on. So that's sort of what we got with the multifucker. So we'll continue on and add in. Let's start messing with the reverb, because I think I'm hearing something that's out of tune. I got to double check when this thing was made. I'm wondering if, I think it may have been around the time of the first album. I don't know. This may go nowhere. So let's just see. I want to turn on some reverb. So where are we? All right. So I got basically like two channels of just the dry, guitar. All right, and I'm gonna put the reverb. It's called the UADX Pure Reverb. So I got it installed in the GarageBand, and it has some presets that you can use. Let me move everything over, which are kind of good to start with. So I'm just gonna start going through them and see what they sound like. All right, so let's see. We got an acoustic, ballad snare, bass, big studio plate. That could be interesting. Big verb. I'm trying to think of like things that I think of with Ed's or the Sunset Sound reverb sounds. I like the chambers. It probably was chambers. Could have been EMT, but when we're dealing with these things, anything is worth trying, right? Because we don't have the actual chamber or any of that stuff, so we could do anything. All right, so bright snare. Now claps and snaps. Dark and woolly. Let's try that. So let me turn it on. There we go. Huh. I think that's working. Do you hear? All right, so here's where what hit me when I hit a chord like a couple of minutes ago. I heard the thing warble, right? Like it does in this case. Hear that? Boom, 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 boom. That boop, that glitch. On Running with the Devil, I always heard something, and I thought it was the Eventide glitch on the track. It still could be, that when he was holding this note, that I heard it go bloop. It kind of puked for a second on the album. This did it as well, and this actually sounds kind of good. It's adding something. I like that. Let's try a couple more of these reverb settings. All right, so we got dark and woolly. Let's see what big studio plate sounds like. I don't think I'm going to like it, but let's try it. Wow. Ducks a little bit. You hear that pick all the time. Now, sometimes Eddie does get the tinkies, but not all the time, and not on this. I don't really hear his picking on a lot of the chord work. You know what? That could work if it was tamed down a little bit. And let's see. If it was tamed, I think it would be pretty good. All right, let's see. Big verb. Don't like that. Let's see. Bright snare chips and dark and woolly. Dark reverb. Let's try dark reverb. I like dark. I'm getting some glitching in my... I think it's in the interface or maybe in the computer. I'm going to increase my my dry signal a little bit here. And maybe decrease the wet a little bit. A little more the dry. Alright, now I'm going to take down a little bit of the wet. Alright, let's just leave it there. It's still too much, but Let's listen to it this way. So that was dark reverb. What was the one we did before? Dark and woolly. Let's listen to that again. Maybe a little bit more of that. Oh, just put that up a little bit more. Take this down just a little bit. All right, let's keep moving on. I think the balance is close enough for just messing around. All right, dark reverb, we did that. Deep and distant. Let's try that. Deep and distant. Wow. It's a nice reverb. Default. All right, I think that's just your own settings. Electric guitar ambience. Let's see what that is. I gotta mute this mic while we're messing around with this. I'm gonna go back to let's keep looking. Female ballad, grand piano, guitar ambience. Is this another guitar ambience? Yeah, I think it is. Let's see what that sounds like. I think that's cool. It's a lot. Where are we now? Guitar space expander. That could be cool. Let's see what that does. That's not bad. That expander, it's not bad. Obviously, we got way too much of it, but you know, we're testing it stuff out, see what it's doing. Huge studio plate. Let's see what that is. Boom. Jeez Louise. That's way too messy. That would be like not long and clear. Eh. Nice drum plate, red bass, percussion, verb, piano, pop, rock, organ, short, bassy plate. Ooh, that's not bad. Let's try that. combined with another could be interesting. All right, let's see what else we got here. Where were we? Short BC plate, short guitar plate. Let's listen to that. And now you could definitely hear the multi-fucker. Let's see if it's on 8. Let's see if we turn that down to 4. See what that does. That's not bad. Short I guess it's percussive. Sweet snare plate. Tight and bright. Vintage mono. I think we've heard the ones that immediately by name appear to be cool. I liked Dark and Woolly. That wasn't bad. There was another one though. Big Verb. Goes on a little long, but I kind of like something about that. So maybe we turn down how long it goes on for. That's the wet solo button. Leave that alone. Maybe not that one. Where was the one that I liked? Is it Dark? No. Some of them actually make the multi-fucker more apparent. I don't know which one I liked before. Let's go back to just Dark and Woolly. Okay. So let's leave that there. And then we can keep continuing on. So yeah, so the pick thing is something that's drives me nuts. All right. So I'm using right now one of these Hercos, right, which is sort of like I think it's the Jimmy Page, Joe Walsh thing, and it also has the little serrations on it that allow you to get the kind of right. All right, so let's just start trying some picks here, and see how they come up. Okay, so let's start with well, one possibility would be like a big fat brass pick. So let's listen to that and see what it sounds like in comparison. So we'll use we'll just use always as always, you know, the fucking devil riff, because that's simple and it's repeatable and we know what it sounds like. So let's listen to that. Okay, so that's our brass pick. Put that down. Let's use one of these picks that, move this a little bit out of the way so I can see what I'm doing here. Arrange the windows a little better. Okay, so this pick here is a pick that the Edge would use. All right, so it's a nylon. I forget the name of the company that makes these, but it has this super grip shit on there, which gives you the whole, you know, edge thing. Right? So that's what it'd be like if with the Edge pick. It's not as like loud. Okay, so that's the Edge pick. Then I've got this goofy pick. I gotta get a pop filter. So this is a nylon pick, a Dunlop, which is a 0.38 millimeter, which is, I use a lot, which is super flexible. It's like paper thin. It's ridiculous. And actually it's kind of loud compared to, like, you can really hear. Sounds like I'm murdering the strings with it compared to, let's say, like the brass pick. Go back to this pick. Right? And I'm not picking very hard, so. The other thing that's good about it is that it rarely gets stuck on those, like, kind of, you know, with that butterfly sort of like picking, or whatever, hummingbird picking. All right, so we got that. So material is definitely making a difference. Got one of Eric Johnson's picks, which are really small, right? They're also, it's called a Jazz, right? It's also a Dunlop. It's called the Jazz 3. It's small, pointy, beveled, so it kind of like, it slides to the strings okay, and it's thick, right? So it doesn't really get stuck, which is really nice. I think that's why he uses these, you know. Well, I could get anything stuck. So let's hear how it sounds like in terms of. All right, it's pretty good, pretty good. Let's get a thicker pick. So this one is it's a really thick pick. This is one of Stevie Young's picks that he uses, which would have been the same pick that Malcolm used. And they're really thick. I'm pretty sure they're, you know, cellulose, and they wear out pretty fast. So let's see what these sound like. For some reason, I think heavier picks seem to have a little less string noise, like contact. What I'm really trying to avoid is the initial first. Hear that? Very high pitched, like 1K, 1K5 kind of peak. And then where you pick obviously matters. It's like Bugs Bunny running up and down the stairs. Okay, so we got that. Let's try another type of metal pick. So this is one of Phil Collins' picks from Def Leppard. It's steel and it's pretty thick. I have another one. This was like from maybe 10 years ago. I have another one that I got from in like the 80s, and it's a little thicker than this, so I think he's changed a little bit, but let's listen to this. It's easy to get stuck for me, but the sound... Not bad. It's good with the slides. Right? Versus like... Sounds smoother. Sounds like the 1984 pick. All right, we got that one done. There's another metal pick I have here. So we have a brass, a thick steel one, and this one's a Fender pick. It's also made of steel. It's thinner. And it has some ridges on it, and then like a smooth kind of like rolled edge like you'd find on a coin. So it's fairly slick. It's harder to get stuck. So let's test. That's obviously not working. Let's stop embarrassing that thing. All right, so that's that. That's got a good slide. So that's kind of cool. But still, I'm getting too much pick noise. This one's really thick, right? So this is one of Slash's picks, and it's got, instead of Hello Kitty, yeah. So let's test that out. It sounds about like every other pick, kind of. That one does sound a little tinky. So the tinking thing is kind of is a little bit pissy offy. And granted, these are picks that they use live mostly. Sometimes there's crossover, right? So I think like the Malcolm pick is pretty much what he would use recording. The Eric Johnson pick is pretty much what he would use. Phil's pick is definitely what he uses in the studio. This is definitely what the Edge uses. But whether, Slash uses this pick in the studio, I have my doubts. The Herco is definitely a staple. The brass thing could be like, who knows? So not all of these are like exactly what they would use in the studio. So I think a lot of times for recording, they're going to try different things. So, all right. So this is like a live pick. So this is one of Brad's from 19 from Las Vegas. And it's, they order these by the thousands, and throw them all over the place. So let's hear that. That one's not bad. It doesn't seem to have a whole lot of string noise, like contact noise. Let's try another pick. So this one is one of Wolfgang's picks from 15, I think, around there. It's similar to, actually almost identical in thickness to what Eddie was using, I think. Like the red with the stripes on it. Except Ed's had like some grippy stuff on it. It was printing, but it was grippy. All right, I'm still hearing pick noise. Now, I'm wondering if there's a studio technique for sort of eliminating that with maybe like a limiter or something that can kind of like maybe miss the beginning transient note and then react like a gate almost. So it moves that first contact with the pick. But once the gate's open, if you're playing fast runs, if you're playing something that's like, once the gate's open, nothing's going to react that fast. So that pick noise, which you don't hear on that album, how do you get rid of it? So maybe it's more of material. I mean, maybe there's so I got some other things to try. All right, so we could try that. So I decided to get something that's pretty soft to try to pick with, right? So I figure, why not use a spatula? All right, so this is like a rubber sort of spatula. See what that sounds like. It's fucking hard to play with. It's so hard to move because this handle is heavy and it's flapping around. That's not bad. I wonder if I should cut this thing. Yeah, it gets an interesting sound. All right, there's the spatula. Um, Here's a piece of felt for like a slider. You know, maybe a felt pick. Bass players use it. I couldn't find a felt pick. That's actually not bad. So this is a contender. So let's put that and let's, all right, so let's use the heavy brass, the felt slider, a regular old Herco. Okay? And we'll decide, compare that. Oh, wait. On here on the floor. I brought this up too. All right. So this is a golf tee. It's made out of rubber. So we could try that too. I'm not sure how to hold this thing. See if I move it like this. That's interesting sounding, isn't it? Let me see if I can pan the camera down a little bit. All right. All right, so there's that. Let's try the regular Herco. Heavy brass. Felt. Let's do the metal again for one more time. All right, this is driving me nuts. All of it, you still hear the transient. The felt was pretty good. The rubber, maybe not. It's uncontrollable. The spatula is the worst, as expected. Yeah, so that's sort of, you know, still driving me crazy what to do with that. But it reminded me also, too, of, so the way this guy was playing Unchained. So what he was doing, right, which is, I'm sure, correct after hearing it, is he's going... Right, instead of... To me... Right, instead of... messing me up as I wanted to do the other stroke so bad. But turn this multi-fucker up a little bit. I think it sounds better that way. Anyway, so we've been going on for quite a while, listening to just nonsense of picks and spatulas and felts and golf tees and everything else. So I think that's good for right now. But interesting that the multiplexer does work, I think. It needs some refinement, obviously, but I think it's in the mix now. I think this was a tool that Ed liked and was subtly used. I mean, if it was used on Fools and Growth, it's obviously not in there as much as, you hear a harmonic or an octave unit on some of Fair Warning. It could have been on Van Halen 1. And I'm starting to think it might have been. So we're going to have to check if it was available, because I think it does something to that chord. It really does. It does that. And you hear that low kind of gurgling going on underneath it, which is what I kind of hear on the record. So harmonic multiplexer is a win. I think it's a win. Keeping that guy. All right. So I think that's good for this time around. We kind of got to, continue on messing around. This is obviously an episode for hardcore lunatics and disturbed individuals. So much as anything else, as usual. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.